Two Toyotas are battling it out in our comparison this week, the Toyota Prius and the Toyota Corolla Hybrid.
All right, welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And if you like this, we do them regularly, so it'd be great if you could subscribe. So the Prius has kind of moved a little bit up market for this brand new model, and then they've added more trims to the Corolla Hybrid. So let's get into it.
The Toyota Prius has a 2-liter 4-cylinder. Gone is the 1.8-liter 4-cylinder. It's matched to an ECVT with a combined 196 horsepower for all-wheel drive. Standard all-wheel drive in Canada, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available on all trims in the U.S.
The Corolla Hybrid has a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder and an ECVT with what Toyota calls its hybrid synergy drive. It has a combined 138 horsepower. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available.
The new Prius handles so much better than the outgoing model. It's smoother and has a more comfortable ride, especially on the highway. Both the Corolla Hybrid and Prius have a newly developed lithium-ion battery located under the rear seat, which is smaller and weighs less than the previous generation nickel metal battery. As with the Corolla Hybrid, you can drive the Prius in EV mode for short distances in parking lots and indoor garages.
Both the Corolla Hybrid and the Prius have an electronic on-demand all-wheel drive system, which uses a small, separate, rear-mounted electric motor to drive the rear wheels for better grip when needed and smoother acceleration. This all-wheel drive system only works at lower speeds.
The Prius and Corolla Hybrid come standard with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which includes pre-collision warning with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, lane tracing assist, and automatic high beams. Blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert are also standard features.
So the new Prius is all new. You can see that with the design. It's quite futuristic. It looks quite sleek and sexy. People were really shocked by the design. We're going to get into that in a moment. The Corolla, however, is what we would call a mid-cycle refresh. So it's not exactly a totally fair fight, but they have obviously added way more power to the Prius and bumped it just a little bit with the Corolla.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by how good the power actually is in the Corolla Hybrid. You know, going up some hills when we were doing some of our filming, I thought that it would struggle. It didn't at all. So that combined 138 horsepower was sufficient. Now, of course, the Prius has more combined horsepower, especially the all-wheel drive model at 196 horsepower. Where it really shines, in my opinion, is on the highway.
I would never put Prius and road trip in the same sentence before. It wouldn't be my vehicle of choice to go on a long road trip. Now you can actually get in this Prius and drive it on the highway. It feels much more planted. The power is definitely there. It makes it a much better all-round vehicle. But they've also put the price up, which is why the Corolla is going to be appealing to some.
Yeah. The new Prius has up to 6 inches of ground clearance and has a sporty, modern, and sleek coupe-like exterior design. Compared to the outgoing model, its stance is wider. It has a lower roofline and a lower driving position. Standard 19-inch wheels in Canada, 17-inch in the US, but available 19-inch. The front end features scooped out headlights with a C-shaped LED accent light, and the rear, which is almost an inch wider than the previous model, has a more dynamic look with an LED taillight strip which looks similar to the Crown.
The Corolla offers slightly less ground clearance at 5.3 inches. It gets a refreshed exterior look for 2023. The most notable is the new front fascia and LED daytime running lights. And also you get an updated rear bumper. You get standard LED headlamps and tail lamps and 15-inch wheels. In the United States, 16-inch wheels are standard. On higher trims, you get a redesigned LED headlamp. You get a new sport diffuser, 18-inch gloss graphite colored alloy wheels, plus Prius and Corolla hybrids have a tire repair kit.
If I had to pick one for exterior design, the winner for me is the Prius. It just looks so good.
It's very futuristic looking, and for people who just want a conventional car, the Corolla is going to be just fine. The thing is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And when you look at the price difference, someone might fall in love with the looks of the Corolla because they know they're saving some money. So that's part of the equation. That's one of the reasons why there are more Corolla trims now, because it has to fill in the space where the Prius has moved up market.
Well, I actually think the Corolla looks good as well, but I think this redesign of the Prius, I mean, I never thought in a million years I would say that the Prius looks sporty. I have to say it was such an unflattering model, that previous model. I even told Toyota that. They just kind of laughed and shook it off, but it wasn't attractive in any way.
Now it's pretty.
The Prius interior has changed dramatically, offering a more modern interior design that's clean and simple. It comes standard with an 8-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There are 2 trims in Canada and 3 in the US, giving the United States a more stripped-down base model, which is less expensive. The XLE trims in both Canada and the US are more equivalent. This trim adds a 7-inch driver display, heated steering wheel, heated front seats, a power driver's seat, and soft text upholstery. In the US, optional features on the XLE trim include a 12.3-inch touchscreen and a fixed glass roof. These features are only available on the top trim in Canada. The top limited trim adds a wireless charger, a panoramic view monitor, digital rear view mirror, an 8-speaker JBL sound system, driver's seat memory, ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, and a power tailgate. Unfortunately, in the US, the heated steering wheel is only available on the top trim, and heated rear seats along with the digital rear view mirror are an option on the top trim.
The Corolla Hybrid is what we would call comfortable and practical, with some great standard features like a 7-inch driver display. The standard screen in the US is a 4.2-inch screen, however, a 7-inch screen is available. Also, there's an 8-inch touchscreen just like the Prius, and new for 2023 is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The base model gets fabric upholstery and a manual front seat. In Canada, when you move up to the base all-wheel drive model, it adds a heated steering wheel. The top 2 trims have a moonroof and a wireless charger. The top trim gets the soft text upholstery or the faux leather upholstery with a powered driver's seat and heated rear seats. There's no JBL sound system available in Canada, but there is in the United States. In the US, it's set up differently. Most of the extra features are on the top trim, and you add packages to the lower trims if you want things like a moonroof, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. An interesting thing is the top trim in the United States is only sold with front-wheel drive, and available on that trim are heated front seats and a powered driver's seat, soft text upholstery, and a 7-inch digital driver display. The wireless charger is available on the top trim, but in a package. Also, the JBL sound system is also available and can be added to all trims except the base model.
So you might be saving some money on the Corolla Hybrid versus the Prius, but in the US, the packages are strange on the Corolla Hybrid. The fact that the top trim, which is a front-wheel drive model, gets all of the extra features is kind of crazy.
That's the California car.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. But if you want all-wheel drive, if you're living in an area in the US where you feel more confident with an all-wheel drive model, you have to go to the trim below. And that trim doesn't come with all those extra features I would want. It's just bizarre.
Just come to Canada. They'll sell you the top trim with all-wheel drive.
It's much better in Canada, the packages on the Corolla Hybrid. You know, I think that you would look at the difference in price, which we're going to get into, and say, gee, I'm not sure I want to spend that extra amount on the Prius.
Well, the good news is they've added all of these new trims. Like last year, if you wanted a Corolla Hybrid, it was base model with steel wheels and hubcaps, no sunroof. It was a stripper. And then and then you would add a package to add some nice things. But really, it was a stripper. Now they've got all of these trims. And you know what's going to happen, Andrea, in the United States? The dealer's just going to order what they know people want. And that's what's probably going to happen.
The front-wheel drive model?
No,
top
no, the one below that.
But I know, but it's so stripped down. I mean, you'd just be missing so many features.
Andrea? Just for another $100 a month, we'll put you in a new Prius.
That's true.
That's what they're doing,
That's
maybe.
what they're doing. Could be. The Corolla Hybrid is about an inch longer than the Prius, and it offers some good front row legroom at 42 inches, but it's the Prius with the most at 43.2 inches. Second row legroom is the same in both at 34.8 inches. The Corolla offers more first and second row headroom, but gets less cargo space at 13.1 cubic feet compared to the Prius at 20.3 cubic feet or 23.8 cubic feet, depending on the trim you choose.
Okay, usually we just jump right into vital stats, but because these two vehicles are both sold by Toyota, both hybrids, people want to know the price differences. We're going to go through all of that, and then Andrea has a really nice summary, so you can watch it, you can back it up, you can listen to it again. A lot of information. Here we go.
Let's get into pricing. We'll start with the Prius first. We'll do Canada, and then we'll move on to the US. There are new regulations in place for the Canadian market. All pricing now includes freight and delivery, dealer fees, and levies minus taxes. The base XLE starts at just over $39,500 Canadian, and the top limited trim is just over $46,000. In the US, we're using MSRP. The base front-wheel drive model starts at just under $27,000, and the top limited all-wheel drive model is just over $35,500 US. Here's the fuel economy for the all-wheel drive model. 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 4.7 on the highway. That's 49 miles per gallon city, 50 miles per gallon highway.
Let's get into the pricing for the Corolla, Canada first, then the US. Remember the extra fees added to the pricing in Canada. The base front-wheel drive model of the Corolla is just under $29,000, and the top XSE all-wheel drive is just over $37,000. Here's the MSRP pricing for the US. The base front-wheel drive Corolla starts at just under $23,000, and the most expensive XLE front-wheel drive is just over $26,500. Here's the fuel economy for the all-wheel drive models. 5 liters per 100 kilometers city, 5.7 on the highway. That's 47 miles per gallon city, 41 miles per gallon highway. Interestingly, if you have the all-wheel drive with either the 15 or 16-inch wheels, the fuel economy is slightly better at 4.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 5.4 on the highway. That's 51 miles per gallon city, 43 miles per gallon highway. For both of these vehicles, Toyota offers a warranty of 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, or 36,000 miles. In the United States, you get complimentary scheduled maintenance for 2 years, or 25,000 miles.
If you're looking for an inexpensive hybrid, the Corolla is the winner. The base trim Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive model is $9,499 Canadian, $4,650 US less than the Prius all-wheel drive base model. Top trim to top trim, the Prius is an extra $9,000 Canadian and just over $9,200 in the US. Keep in mind the top trim XLE model in the US is a front-wheel drive model. If you choose the model below, which is all-wheel drive, it has less features but a sportier look. The difference is an extra $8,690 US for the Prius.
So I think, Andrea, it comes down to whether you're motivated by price or you're motivated by the new, shiny, nicer looking maybe car with more power.
Yeah, I think if you're on a tight budget, definitely the Corolla is the way to go. If you have a little bit more to spend, and like you said, you want the new model, the new Prius, which does look really good, I can see you making the jump to it for sure. I mean, I think I might, but when it comes to fuel economy, there's not a massive difference between the two, but the price difference is big. So I think I'm going, honestly, with the Corolla Hybrid. I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, it's a great car. It's one of those cars you just buy it and you drive it and you don't worry about it. It's going to deliver the mail every day. And, you know, not too expensive to buy, not too expensive to run. It's a great all-rounder. So Prius has moved up. Prius used to do kind of all the heavy lifting for Toyota on the hybrid front initially. Then they added the Camry hybrid. Then they added the Highlander hybrid and the RAV4 hybrid. So they have more hybrids now. So moving the Prius up allows this Corolla to come in below it. And also, what else is coming, Andrea? The Corolla Cross Hybrid. So we can't wait to see the pricing on that compared to these two cars?
And you might be thinking to yourself right now, but that Prius is kind of where the RAV4 Hybrid is in pricing. You're right. We talked to Toyota about that because we actually felt that the Prius was priced a little bit too high. But you know what Toyota said? They said that people who are buying the Prius are wanting to buy a car. They are not interested in a crossover or an SUV.
Well, it's quite interesting. We have a follower, Jerome, who lives in Quebec, had a RAV4 Hybrid on order. Then he went to the dealer and he test drove the new Prius. And then he said, cancel my RAV4 order and I'll take the Prius. So he was somebody who did want an SUV and switched to a car. He figured with the all-wheel drive system, even in snowy Quebec, he could do just fine with it.
I think if you want the practicality of an SUV and greater ground clearance, say you've got to throw a stroller in there or you've just got extra stuff with kids, you just might find the RAV4 in general to be more practical. But boy, it sure is nice getting back in a car. So I can understand why Jerome, made that decision.
Yeah, it's more planted for sure. So which one would you choose and why? Make sure you type below. Tell us the reason why you would choose Prius over Corolla or vice versa. We'd love to hear from you. Get at it. Clickety-clack goes the keyboard. All right, I think we're all done here. What else do they have to do, Andrea?
Well, you got to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We put a lot of unique content out each week and we'd love you to follow.
And when will we see them next?
We'll see you next week.